Hello everybody, Iain Robson here, and welcome back to American Truck Simulator. As you can see, I'll have a little bit of, I think it's supposed to be hay, but it looks like straw, which is not the problem. Anyway, so here we are parked on the side of the highway. We'll call it engine troubles, which is not really the case, but let's let people know that I am going to come into their lane. There we go. There we go. So this job is actually going to be late. I know this for a fact, because I didn't want to drive through the night for you guys. So that's fine. It's about what was it, 600 kilometers? Yeah, about 600 kilometers. So we'll have to see how that works out in terms of our journey, but it shouldn't be too bad in all honesty. So hope everybody enjoyed that little tutorial I put up the other day about multiplayer during the multiplayer edition of American Truck Sim. I have not played much multiplayer yet, but at least I know how to do it now, I guess. So, anyways, what is our... Let's go 90 clicks. So I still haven't changed over to the Kenworth, because I like my Peterbilts, I guess. I'm still holding out for an old Peterbilt, but I'll have to do a little check. I'll have to do a little video about checking out the W900 for you guys, just so you can see what it looks like in comparison to this one. This one's like the latest, greatest edition of the Peterbilt, as opposed to the W900, which is, I believe, an older style. Not sure if it's still in production or not. I'd honestly have to look that up. But as far as I know, this one is supposed to be a newer style Peterbilt. Let that little old car go. Move into this lane here. There we go. So, as I mentioned last time, they did update the patch notes, and they reflected that people were a little annoyed by the police being so severe on 1 km/h changes, or mile an hour, whatever you want to call it. So, they did adjust it, like I mentioned in the last video, so it's not so bad now as it used to be. So now I can cruise at 90, which is nice, and not get a ticket still. It used to be that you could cruise at 90 and you get a ticket because it's 1 kilometer over. And as a couple people mentioned, in real life that probably wasn't very likely, because it's too much paperwork. But some people said it's realistic depending on where you are in the world. So there you go. It really depends on what your situation is, I suppose, or where you are in the world, and a whole bunch of factors actually. So one thing to note is that some people mentioned that when you log into your multiplayer for American Truck Sim and then you log off and then you log back onto the multiplayer, you'll have a whole bunch of money, and that's basically because your company still runs when you're not there. And I made reference to that in some of the comments, because a couple of people were asking questions about that. Let's toggle that on. A couple people make comments about that, so I thought I'd clarify. So your company still runs, so usually what happens is when you log on and you log back on later on, you'll have a whole bunch of money you didn't have before because your company was still running when you were offline. So it's like a Minecraft server. So when you log off your Minecraft server, it's still running in the background. So sometimes if you have like a chunk loader, for example, things will still happen. It's the same idea, really. So just think of it this way: if you understand Minecraft terms, there's always a chunk loader around your company, so that's why you make a whole bunch of money. Oh, we're actually turning right here. One thing that I was actually talking to Landy K the other day, and one thing that he pointed out was the fact that let's downshift here. One thing he pointed out was if you have a retarder gearbox, the retarder will kick in if you're cruising and you go over the speed limit that you've set. However, if you don't have a retarder, but if you have the engine brake toggled, like I often do, what will happen is your engine brake will automatically go on once you go over the speed you want to go at on your cruise control, which I think is really cool. So like if you're cruising and you go over like 50 kilometers an hour, let's say, it'll automatically adjust it, so or automatically put the engine brake on when you go over that, which I think is really neat. So like, for example, if I'm cruising at 50 kilometers an hour and I go up to 55 kilometers an hour, the engine brake will toggle when I go over the speed limit, and then it'll slow me back down, as opposed to using the retarder, which is what usually happens in Euro Truck. And apparently that's what happens in real trucks, which I think is really neat. I didn't realize that was the way it was, and I didn't realize it worked that way in this game. So I wonder if there's a shop right here real quick we can actually stop at to make that change. No, there is not. That's unfortunate. I thought there might be, but there isn't, so not a problem. Anyways, I thought that's a really neat little change that it's supposed to be that way, I guess, suppose, so. But I think it's really cool. But I often have my engine brake toggled as opposed to using the retarder in this game, because the engine brakes on these trucks slow the trucks down so quick, and you don't really need to use the retarder at all, basically. At least that's been my experience. I don't know what your experience has. Let me know. Let me know below. Now, a lot of people have mentioned the fact that you're not supposed to use your engine brake in town, which is true. A lot of places do have signs that say don't use your engine brake in town. A lot of places have fines associated with it. So let's see if anybody's actually there. Oh, there's a police officer there. You gonna stop for me, please? Not exactly. Oops, that's the wrong game. There we go. But yeah, I think it's kind of cool. That was a really neat little change. Also, if you follow the SES blog, which you should, because it's pretty cool, they give you they're really good. SES is like one of the best companies I know that gives you information about what's going on with their company, which I think is fantastic. Anyway, so they posted a blog not too long ago about how they're working on France in ETS 2, because that was one of the updates they talked about, was adjusting France and making it a bit better and adding some things that are missing right now to ETS 2 in France. Ooh, buddy. Go. Apparently he doesn't want to go. But yeah, they're actually going to adjust France, so they're going to add a few things in there, which is really neat. Which basically shows as well that they're still working on ETS 2, which is cool, because ETS 2 is still a fantastic game. I actually have talked to a few people who have been playing this game, and they've actually gone back to ETS 2 because there's so much more content in ETS 2 rather than American Truck Sim at the moment. So that's what I think is really cool. So it's similar type of games. So let's say you want to do some trucking. You're like, yeah, I want to do some trucking, so you can do that. But then the cool thing is that you can then go to America or go to Europe and adjust your driving as you see fit, basically, which I think is neat. So, yeah, that was the other thing they talked about in their blog recently, which is cool. So, a lot of people have also mentioned the fact that they would like to see more content for American Truck Sim, which is totally understandable, really, because right now it's kind of like after you've gone over the same areas a few times, you kind of get to a point where like, I'm good, I've seen this before, it's nothing new. So it's a bit unfortunate for those people who are like die-hard fans and want to like drive for hours and hours and hours. They may feel like they're going over the same areas, but because they probably are in reality, just due to what we have basically right now. So, which is not very much. All right. So, there's only a few places that I haven't seen yet on the map. There's still some roads doesn't really bother me. As you can see, there's roads there I haven't seen yet. But the only place I haven't been yet is Hornbrook, and that's it so far. That's the only place I haven't been to yet. So all the other places I have visited now. So I'm trying to go to all the cities. Seeing all the roads doesn't really bother me too much. Do I need fuel? No, we're good. Seeing all the roads doesn't bother me too much. I'll get to it eventually. Especially when they add more states, you'll be able to it'll be more advantageous to take a certain route as opposed to purposely going on a specific road. But I probably will visit all the roads eventually. But some people are what they would refer to as completionists, I suppose, or perfectionists perhaps, and they like to see all the roads. So I'm not. If you've ever seen my driving, you'll know I'm not a perfectionist. So I'd like to enjoy the game. Is what it boils down to. So. That is the reason why that doesn't bother me one way or another. Apparently that Dodge didn't like the fact that I was going in this lane. That's fine. But one thing I did note is that there's a bit of a bug. When you put your cruise control on and it's like considerably slower than the speed you're going, it'll put the retarder on and slow you down, but the retarder won't come off again, which is kind of strange actually. So it's you actually have to put it on manually yourself and then take it off, and then it'll actually work again. But it's really strange. I noticed that there's been a couple times where I've been like doing 80 and I have my cruise control set at like 50 kilometers an hour, so I hit the resume, I put the cruise control and it'll put the retarder on, slow me down, and then my truck will never be able to accelerate as fast as it was before. That's because the retarder is on, so I have to like manually put it on and then take it off, and then it toggles off. It's really strange. So, and that's kind of in conjunction with the cruising with the engine brake instead, which is a good little tip. Alright, looks like we're good. We'll go on the right hand lane here. Don't need to be in the left lane. Just in case anybody decides to drive. Gotta love that train station over there. Nice. Very cool. It's funny, I've been playing City Skylines lately. And that game, the traffic in that game, I'm still trying to figure out like what they tried to do. And it doesn't make sense to me. It's definitely interesting to watch what they're trying to do, and I'm trying to like figure it out. I'm like, so why are they doing this? And it's not obvious most of the time, but it's still fun to play. I picked that up on the weekend actually. It was on my wish list for a long time, and I just happened to notice that it was went on sale on the Steam weekend. It was actually a free weekend to play, so I played it for free a little bit to see what the game was like, and I'm like, okay, this is a pretty solid game, so I picked it up. I was going to get the DLCs with it, but in the end I chose not to, because the number of mods that really change the game now it's quite a lot actually. So it's like almost not necessary to buy the DLCs because of how many mods are there. It's almost like Farm Sim a little bit, where you have like Timbers mods, for example, and they're so good that you almost don't need to buy like the JCB DLC, for example. But it's the only JCBs that are solid right now, as far as I know. But like stuff like that. But it is still pretty crazy. These bales look like they're Farm Sim bales too, by the way. I don't know if you noticed that, but they definitely have that kind of look to them in comparison to like other bales. I'm just gonna go in the left lane here, just in case anybody decides to come down that on ramp. Nope, we're good. Perfect. One of these days I'll get track IR, and then I can just look. But I have a feeling if you're to use track IR and like look in those mirrors, like I think my problem would be I like check my mirrors a lot, so like all you'd see was be like usually there'd be one up there too, but I tend to drive like that when I drive in real life, checking the mirrors, which is what you're supposed to do for you know, oncoming people from behind you and stuff like that. So. But I think that would probably get annoying. Like, there's one other one called, what is it called? It tracks your eye movement. So if your eyes move a lot, it'll, instead of having track IR where your head moves, the other one I'm thinking of is like with your eyes. So if you look to the left or look to the right, it'll actually look in that direction. It's actually pretty good apparently at detecting where your eyes are looking, which is funny. However, if you're like me and you stream sometimes, that would be bad, because then you'd be looking at the chat all the time. So people would be like, what are you looking at? And I'm like, looking at the chat, but I'd keep looking like it would look like I was looking in the mirror or something. So it would be kind of strange, I think. But, you know, an alternative to track IR, I suppose. No one's even coming. I don't even know why I bother doing that, or why I bother switching lanes. Half the time you don't even need to switch lanes. But there's one stretch of road actually that's a really nice little stretch. I think it's between Nevada and California, and it's like you basically go from like desert to like lush green area, and I think that's the way that it's some road that connects the two states. It's really nice to look at, but it's like going from desert to like green area, so it's very strange. Whoops, almost hit that police officer. Sorry. So I haven't modded this game yet, but I will start modding it very soon. There's a couple mods I want to add already. There's a pack car mod, which like basically adds better truck sounds. And there's another mod I want to try out as well. So there we go. interesting. It's funny. I finally realized what I was doing wrong with that whole parking brake thing. It's because I was taking the parking brake off and then hitting the gas. You basically just keep the gas going when you have your parking brake. I don't know why. Really? Come on. I don't know why that seemed like rocket science, but for whatever reason I totally just didn't realize that until the other day. Don't know why though. Just one of those things, I guess. Alright, perfect. Where are we here? This is in Oakdale, looks like. Not too bad. It's funny, there actually is the Peterbilt 389, I think, out already for American Truck Sim. But some of the lighting on the inside and like they don't have the same customization as it does in Euro Truck. So it's kind of like nice, but all right, now where do they want this? Over here. That's always the same spot. Almost always. All right, let's adjust over here. Now we should be able to do this without making too much of a mess of this. Hopefully. Let's find out. I'm getting better at this, but I still should probably stay in cab, but I don't usually. I still make too big of adjustments, if I had to guess. There we go. Although it's funny, it used to be in Euro Truck you had to be a bit more perfect about where you put your trailer, whereas in this game it's not the same at all. Like you could do it, but it's not necessary. So, oh no, there's the 2 million. Yeah, so this is the account I logged into my the multiplayer on, then I logged off, and this is in single player, which is kind of strange actually, but it still did it. Oh well. Late, yes, I know. Damage penalty, late penalty. Did we make any money from that? No, didn't make any XP either. That's a shame. Yeah, so that's what happens, and when you log in with your account. So like I have 2 profiles, and I guess I should have made a multiplayer profile, but I didn't. So that's what happens when you don't make a multiplayer profile. You gain a whole bunch of random money because your basically trucks run like 24/7 in game. Anyways, folks, that'll be it for me for today. My name's Iain Robson. I hope you enjoyed this episode of American Truck Simulator, and if you did, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button for more American Truck Simulator and Farm Simulator 2. I'll catch you guys later.